share this. It's basically like a response, but I'm definitely sharing. That's why I created this channel so I can share this information and have others come on and share their stories and information. Because again, at one point I was feeling this way. I was feeling like, um, am I going crazy? Is this really happening? Is this doesn't feel right? And I would run to YouTube and do my checking and searching. I would run to social media, and there wasn't a lot of people talking about stuff like this. There was times that I brought stuff like this to that brought attention to stuff like this, trying to contact like other people that was in the poker community that was famous, quote unquote. But they really didn't care until they realized that they can make money off certain things. But this is why I play. This is why I share. A lot of people these little sarcastic dickheads. They like to come on and be like, "Oh, then why are you still playing on here?" This is why, so I can share. I don't know. I don't lose anything. I gain more than I lose because I no longer add money on these sites. I play the free rolls. I make money. I roll it over into tournaments. I make money, and I just let it keep going and going and going. Now, granted, I haven't been playing a lot. Due to just traveling a lot and just living life as I usually do. But this is a place so we all can come and share, and I want to share this because again, at one point I felt this way. This has happened to me, and I've actually shown what some of the things that we're going to see and talk about here is I've shown in other videos. And I'll get to it. Let me go ahead and start reading this here. It says, yeah, I stopped playing Ignition yesterday. Some backstory. And that's a great start. Stop playing these damn sites. Stop playing them. They ain't going to do nothing for you except take your money. I always bet the same amount. And before I go any further, let me tell you something there. Also, a lot of people, they don't understand when you're playing online poker and in-person poker, yes, it's the same game, but it definitely plays different, especially when you're bluffing, betting, whatever. It's different. It is not the same. You have more tells in live poker. When it comes to online, you're basically trying to use your bankroll and basically playing a mind game. And that's in regular poker, in-person poker is the same thing, or should I say live poker? But let me go on. It says I always bet the same amount to hide whether I'm bluffing or have something. And yesterday I was in a session where I was a player who had 6 max buy-ins for a cash game would call all my pre-flop bluffs and folds every time I had something good. So basically every time they had something good, that player would fold, or account. I'm not going to say player. I didn't notice until about 10 minutes, but every single time I had something, he fold to a 3x bet. Every time I bluff or playing a loose hand, he'd call my 3-bet or 3-bet it himself. So that's exactly some of the things that I've talked about and shown, these suspicious accounts. That's why I get on you guys about, marking these accounts. Now, granted, I haven't played on BetOnline and Ignition for a very long time. I started with BetOnline, Bovada. Once Bovada sold it over to Ignition, and they made that switch, I went over to Ignition. Now, playing there, even with Bovada, some things happened, but when I got to Ignition, it really shot up. Like a lot of suspicious play and stuff. So eventually I got tired, and yes, I wound up doing a chargeback, and they banned me from Ignition, which in turn banned me from Bovada. So I haven't played on there in a very, very, very long time. So I don't know if they have users name yet, but even if you're playing these accounts, these unknown accounts with numbers, if you're playing on the table with them, it's best to still write down your notes. If you can't type the notes in like BetOnline, write some notes. It's very important. You want to notate this. And if you are playing on BetOnline and or a site that you can see these usernames, it's very, very important that you note. Just because you lose 1, 2 hands, 3 hands, don't go all crazy talking about calling it a cheat right off the back. Make sure you have some Just wait. Have yourself a large sample size, because when I come on here and I'm talking about this and that, it's not because I lost one hand, two hands, three hands. I have a very large sample size. I'm talking about most of the time I'm having over 20 hands of a sample size. Sometimes, um, when I get about that 10th number, I'm really starting to take notes. Most of the time, I'm already taking notes by the fourth, suspicious thing that happened. Um, so you guys should do it as well. It says, let's go on. It says, post flop, same story. If I hit a set, he'd fold it. If I bet anything, and if I was bluffing. So I'm gonna stop it there. So basically, what it was also saying is, every time he flopped a set or straight, whatever the case may be, that player magically, or let me take that back, that account magically knew to fold. But when he never had it and he was doing the same thing, playing the same way, betting the same amounts, that player would call, and that's total nonsense. That's the same thing I've been through. It's not that. Let me get something straight. Also, it's not just these accounts that may be cheating, these third party accounts. It's also the site themselves. The site themselves, their employees. It's unregulated. It is unregulated. Don't let them lie to you. It is unregulated. We've already experienced and seen so much um, from different sites like ACR and, of course, Black Friday and all the cheating scandals. It happens and it is real. It is fucking real. And this is the same thing that I've experienced and shown, where I'm playing certain accounts, again, certain accounts, and they're just magically knowing when to exactly fold and when to call. Every time. They'll lose one little hand, one little tiny hand to try to throw people off, and then all of a sudden they go right back to winning, 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 winning. They're always winning the big hands, they're always winning the hands just in general. But in return, you can't duplicate that same outcome, those same outcomes. You can't sit there and keep winning hands and hands and hands and over and over and over. They can do it, but you can't. That's a setup. That's something that's not right. Some employee, a super user, whatever, that in-house account, basically the same thing, but it's all cheating from the site. Let's see, where did I leave off here? Okay, it says immediately a snap call, like not even taking the time to think about it. So exactly, I've experienced that too. It's like they're just snap calling, just like they know that they're gonna win, or like they know you don't have anything that you. But when you do, and you're playing the same exact manner again, they magically know when to fold. Yep, I talked about it and showed it so many times on this channel. Meanwhile, every time I play live tournaments in my town, which are usually 60 plus players, I can get to the final table every time. Exactly. I said the same thing. I shared the same thing and I showed the same thing. When I first started this channel and I started talking about this, I was actually still a winning poker player. It's not a losing poker player complaining or talking about this. It was a winning poker player talking about this stuff. And people was like, oh, well, how can we believe you, blah, blah, blah. So then I started posting proof. I started posting that I can win consistently and constantly, even on these scammy ass sites. I can still win, or I can still cash. And these dickheads, they magically try to find another way to, or they'll just sit there and say the same nonsense over and over, just looking stupid. I've already, discussed it. I already proved it, but they still want to. I understand, because that's the same thing. When I finally started playing in person, because I started online and I played online for a few years, and then like few years into playing online, I'm talking about maybe 2 or 3. I finally went to a casino and I realized, if I can sit here and win these tournaments, and I'm playing tournaments where there's a few hundred people in person, and even playing tournaments online where there's a few thousand people, and I'm able to win and do good, then what's going on, and I'm changing my game, I'm screwing myself over trying to figure it out, but I understand, man. I really do. I'm gonna finish reading this. It says, so I know I'm not a bad player. Again, you're not, man. I don't know you, but I feel you may not. be a bad player. And because it's the same thing, I knew I was not a bad player. I knew I still had room for improvement, but I knew I shouldn't have been getting beat out by these garbage ass accounts that's just basically playing bingo. And it says Ignition got me for roughly $150, and they won't be getting a penny more. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad it was not a few hundred or even a few thousand. 150, man. You learned a lesson pretty cheap. Because there's a lot of people that still haven't learned a lesson in thousands and tens of thousands in the hole. Um, but yeah, you start feeling these, something's not right. Most likely, follow your gut. I mean, listen to your gut. Something's not right. Stop playing. But yeah, I just want to share that. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. I really didn't want it to be too long, which it wound up being long. But here you go, another story for the books.